Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why they say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. I work blind, got vision I don't need to see. I'm picking mind over matter, I believe in me. I need to find more hours in the day to breathe. Need to find more power in the way I be. And when my mind turns sour with the painful scenes, I need to scream out loud, I can't stop me. I wanna be the greatest like Rocky. You know I leave them all hating like a hobby. I'm out here making moves like a lobby. And if you ain't with me, it's your loss, see. I got my mind on the facts, I'm a python, grab what I like real fast. Choke until I have everything I attack, everything that I lack, everything that I want, and I see, matter of fact. Cause I'm my own worst enemy. Only if I let it be. I can control anything if I can just think carefully. I control my destiny.
Hello and welcome to my Mind Over Your Matter. My name is Rick, and here for another little early show. Got here on here early, just because I decided to come on just to do a quick little hour and get out of the way. Been having problems with YouTube. It's already day 2 with the issues. I managed to get some videos loaded up for us to watch. I pulled out 6 videos that I wanted to see today with you guys. And hopefully, in due time, they will fix the problems and I won't have to deal with this craziness with YouTube. But I feel like YouTube is being secretly attacked and they're not letting us know. Because I just have this feeling like they're not specifying or saying anything, because of course they won't say nothing like that out to the public. But there's no way out of the blue that YouTube just automatically stops working and have issues like I did yesterday. I've been on YouTube since YouTube started, pretty much like way back when, but I didn't start like doing videos and stuff like that 10 years ago or so. And now is when I'm starting to have all these crazy issues with YouTube out of the blue. And it's only, I noticed, is that it's only with the premium YouTube. I notice it's only under the premium YouTube, not the regular YouTube, like where you get your commercials and all those commercials, and they feed you like so many commercials on a show, which is ridiculous. That's why I pay the premium, because I don't want to be bombarded with commercials. And it seems like the premium is what is being under attack, and not so much the regular YouTube. So I tested this out on my devices, because I went onto another account on my phone, which is my Mind Over Your Matter 2. And that one, I don't have the premium on it. And guess what? It worked fine. No problems. Everything was great. I went back to the premium, issues. So I don't understand what's going on. There's definitely something going on. It's weird. Just like my hoodie today, because I have like kind of like a little greenish hoodie. It's not even green. It's like a forest deep dark green, but it's kind of picking it up. So I gotta get this like effect going on over here, which is pretty cool. I like it. And if you guys wondering what's this right here behind me, that's a sign. It's a sign for when I do my readings, when I do my psychic readings, when I do my close up. I could go like something like this. Oh, psychic. Dreams, love, luck, fate, and tarot. That's right. I will be doing psychic readings in the future, and hopefully I'll get to do more readings for people down the line. I'll do some free ones, but there's going to be a majority of them are going to have to pay, because I can't be doing free and not get paid and produce everything out of my pocket. It's just not going to work that way. It's not feasible, but we'll see how it goes down the line. And let's see if we could bring up our first video. Let me see if I can set it up in a ways that I can get this video going. There's going to be 6 videos I'm going to show. This is only going to be a 1-hour show. It's going to be quick. And as soon as I'm done with the 6, I'll talk for a little bit and we're done. So I'm glad that at least I got these videos up so we can watch. So let's go for it and we'll talk later. So let's go ahead and share here. Let's go ahead and let me set this up here real quick, because every single one I have to set it up in a ways. Here we go. Actually, I don't like that one. So let's come over here. Let's go to that layout because it's a little bit bigger. And let's start it.
Federal prosecutors in Los Angeles have launched Operation Guardian Angel, a program intended to, quote, neutralize California's sanctuary state policy targeting criminal undocumented migrants in county jails through the use of federal arrest warrants. U.S. Attorney for the Central District of California. Bill Essayli launched Operation Guardian Angel. He's with us now. Bill, good to have you in studio.
Thanks for having me.
Start with the basics. How does this program work, and how do you see it as a potential model for other sanctuary states and other sanctuary cities?
Yeah, well, let's recall California is a sanctuary jurisdiction. Under state law, local jails are not allowed to cooperate with immigration authorities or honor our ICE detainers. So this is our answer now, is we are monitoring the jails daily. And when we see an illegal immigrant in there who has re-entered unlawfully, we're filing arrest warrants, federal arrest warrants for them instead of a detainer. And with that, they don't have a choice. They must comply. And so that's our workaround at the moment.
What happens if local law enforcement or lawmakers don't comply?
They will comply. They will comply. A federal arrest warrant is not a voluntary thing. They will comply. Otherwise, they'll be facing consequences, including potential obstruction investigations.
All this during a very heated debate about due process and habeas corpus. You've seen a number of federal fights over for example, the Alien Enemies Act. What do you say to people who fear that they may lose those rights?
Well, first of all, there is an important discussion to be had about whether those who are in the country unlawfully are entitled to any form of due process or habeas corpus rights. It is not clear. That is why the cases are going up to the Supreme Court. But I would tell the people there's a lot of fear mongering on this. Here in California, at least the Central District, we are targeting illegal immigrants who have criminal histories. Mm-hmm. Those who have come into our country, already broken our laws to enter, and who've committed a crime. Those are the individuals we are focused on and removing from society.
All right, switching gears, we're learning more about last night's fatal shooting in Washington, D.C. Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram, who worked at the Israeli embassy and were preparing to get engaged, were shot and killed leaving an event at the Capitol Jewish Museum. The suspect, 31-year-old Elias Rodriguez, has now been hit with federal murder charges.
Anti-Semitism will not be tolerated, especially in the nation's capital. And we're going to continue to investigate this as a hate crime and a crime of terrorism.
Wow,
and we will add additional charges as the evidence warrants.
Bill, in this new role as U.S. Attorney, what steps can you and the DOJ take to combat both anti-Semitism and hate crimes in general?
Well, first of all, our hearts go out to the families of those victims. I was alerted to this last night. Totally horrific. Should never happen on U.S. soil, frankly, anywhere. I was in touch immediately with the FBI office here. We take all threats, whether it's to the Jewish community or any community, extremely seriously. And we have civil rights and national security investigators ready to go. So we won't tolerate it. We have investigations open also into the UC system to look at whether they've created hostile environments or allowed Jewish students to be targeted unlawfully. So we do have active civil rights investigations that are going on as we speak.
What do you attribute to this apparent rise in anti-Semitism and political violence?
You know, in general, it's very alarming that we're crossing this line from politics or viewpoints or extremist viewpoints, and people are taking violent action. You can look just last weekend in Palm Springs. We were dealing with that all weekend with that bombing there, where this individual developed this extremist ideology and took matters into his own hands. So it's extremely serious. It's one of the reasons, by the way, I insisted that the deputy mayor of LA today plead to a felony. He wanted a lesser charge, and I insisted he plead to a felony because this rhetoric, we cannot have those in office or those with a platform advancing violence in any form.
Let's bring it back to a key issue here in California, homelessness. Last month, your office announced the formation of a homelessness fraud and corruption task force. This after California spent more than $24 billion on the crisis in the past 5 years. But the problem has still gotten worse. Where does the investigation stand?
Well, we just launched this. And what was shocking to me is no one's been looking into this. You know, when I got in, I asked the investigators, said, has anyone looked into where all this money is gone? Because I was in the legislature and we would ask all the time, 24 billion, where's the money? No one has an answer. So we're starting from the bottom up. We're getting all the bank records and we're going to follow the money. It's going to take us some time to do it, but we will get there. The governor called it funding failure. I actually think it's worse than that. I think they've been funding fraud, but we'll get to the bottom of it.
And you say you'll get to the bottom. How long? What's the timeline?
I've instructed my agents. I want months, not years.
Months, not years. Okay. All right. So you've been on the job a month. 1 month.
I've been on the job a month.
This happened. I mean, so what do you find more challenging thus far? U.S. attorney or being a minority in the state?
That's a great question. Well, I would say this is definitely more work.
Okay.
But it's less challenging than being in a super minority where you have no power to do anything. And you just feel like you're hitting your head against the wall every day up in Sacramento because you have a super majority and they do whatever they want because they want to.
Well, we appreciate you coming in here in person. U.S. Attorney Bill Essayli, thank you so much.
Thank you. Great.
No,
Thank you
that's
guys
pretty
for having
cool.
me. You guys always covered
great
work. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Keep
Thanks
up
for
the
being
good
here.
They need to get to the bottom of it. They need to figure this thing out because it's only going to get worse if they don't, like, they got to get these people out. First of all, I don't know why they saying they're due some kind of rights or whatever or due process. No, they don't. They came in here illegal. Hello? What rights do they have if they got here illegally? They're not legal. They're not Americans, for one. Two, like, they weren't here like they overstayed their visa or anything like that, or they came in already with permission and stayed their student visa, or they overstayed or something like that. No. These are individuals that snuck into this country and are here illegally. Why are we wasting our resources and money on people that are here illegally? Hello? If they're illegal and they're here, they need to be deported. Easy. So easy. I could save you millions and billions of dollars right now. I could give you the easy solution. You're illegal, get your ass in the plane and get the fuck out. That's it. There we go. Rick solved it. Look, Trump, I could save you so much money, Trump. It's very easy. They don't get no due process if you're here illegal. Like, that sounds stupid. Fucking hold on. Let me make myself big because that's stupid. That sounds stupid. Like, why are we wasting resources and money on these individuals that are here illegally? And yet now we have to, okay, we're paying for them to be here. And then on top of that, we got to pay for them to go through the whole system and the court system to get deported. Are you kidding me? Oh, man. These Democrats, man. Like, what is the purpose? What is their goal? What is their end game? What like these Democratic judges and all these individuals that are Democrats, like, I don't understand your thinking. How can you try to protect the immigrants that came in here illegally? Wait, there's going to be something big that's going to happen. I tell you right now, something really big is going to happen that's going to put all immigrants like in a situation that they're going to have to like really deport themselves out of here because of one individual, actually probably a group of individuals that's going to like terrorize, and it's going to put every immigrant in jeopardy. I'm just telling you, it's something big's going to happen, and they're going to say all immigrants out. That's it. And every single one out. Watch, you'll see. There's going to be something big's going to happen. I have this feeling that something big's going to happen. Okay, let's go to the next story. Let's see, we go over here. Set this up again. All right, let's go to the next story. Let me close this one out. Let me come over here, just make it a little big for us, and we'll hit play.
More mysterious drone sightings over U.S. military bases and along the southern border.
Hundreds of sightings so far. Now Pentagon officials and members of Congress are sounding the alarm. Fox's William Lajeunesse explains the concerns.
Security rover, you're cleared hot for jamming.
This contractor video demonstrates something the U.S. government lacks at scale: counter-drone technology.
Should our adversary choose to employ drones for surveillance or even attack, we would not be prepared to adequately defend our homeland and only marginally capable to defend our military installations.
Lawmakers last month grilled the Pentagon over lapses in base security after recording 350 drone incursions.
That's 350 different potential national security breaches that we know of. These include highly sensitive sites such as nuclear facilities and major military bases.
FAA records show 1,600 drones violated restricted military and civilian airspace.
Let me pause the story real quick. the drugs, the amount of drugs you could throw in a drone. And a drone, remember, for example, go watch some videos in Japan and how they do delivery service nowadays. They do it through drone technology, where they put the food, like the employees, the workers, they put the food in the drone, and the drone carries it to a drop off location where the client is waiting for to pick up his food, or they store it there. And when you come, the food is already there to pick up. There's, you can see so many cool drone delivery footage like in Japan. You can find it on YouTube. That's how I discovered it, and I was like, wow, that's fucking cool, man. Imagine, you have a little substation area where you could order your food and it gets delivered by drone to the location of pickup, and it's nice and hot and it's ready. Like, it's so cool, man. The technology in Japan, like, that's what, like, I would like to go to Japan to experience, because that's one place I would really like to go. Problem is, I don't trust Japan. Nothing bad about it, but I don't trust where you can lie to the public and not be concerned with all that freaking nuclear waste that poured into the ocean from that damn earthquake / tidal wave that came through, a tsunami came through, and Fukushima. Hello. That's the only thing I don't. That's very radioactive there. No, thank you. I'm okay. I'm good. I could watch it on video. I don't have to go through the hassle of flying all those hours. I don't think I don't think I'm gonna make it to Japan. It would be nice, but I don't know, because I feel like Japan, for me, it would be uncomfortable. I just would be uncomfortable, because there you got to really move around, and you got to, like, everything's pretty much in a upper high, more faster pace. They're very, like, their technology is very high tech over there, and yet here in the United States, it's kind of like, it's whatever. It's not Japan, that's for sure. Even though they're gonna try to do it, like, they're gonna try to do something like that for the new future of LA. That's their plans are to do, is to do a state of the art future city. And I think, like, with that fire that burned all of LA, they're gonna try to do that there, and they're gonna try to make it like a green city, whatever, so forth. And I just feel bad for the people that lost their property and their stuff there, because now they're just gonna move you around and be like, yeah, and you be gone, and the land, they're gonna grab it and they're gonna develop on it. So they'll just give you a check and tell you shut the fuck up, and that's it. It's no difference than what's happening in South Africa. Now, it's no difference. Land grab is a land grab. I don't know. You tell me. All right, let's continue the story with the drones. This drones, let me tell you, if the cartels, if I can see what they have these drones with weapons on it. They're not stupid. They have weapons on the drones. Like, in the US don't want to play, like, because this is like poker right now, right? And the US always has the upper hand. They will have the upper hand. They have these drones that are so state of the art. They have like laser weapons on it. It's not guns, because with guns you have a recoil. You know what I mean? You have a snapback, so it's gonna move the drone, and it's gonna be like it's gonna have that recoil. It's gonna push, and then when it push, it's gonna it's gonna, like, every time you shoot a missile or it's gonna do that. It's gonna push back. Now, yes, I said missiles. The United States have drones that they have missiles on it that they can just drop it from the drone and it'll ignite, and it'll be GPS linked on it that goes directly to exactly where you want it to go. And it will have cameras on it. So you will see in real time your target and the of the target. They have these weapons. I can see them. I know. I see them. And yeah. I don't want them to come to me and knock on my door and be like, "Hey, we need you." I'm like, "All right, I'll work for Trump. Hell yeah." I'd be like, definitely. I could definitely work for Trump. I'd be like, "Look, man, I'm fucked up. I'm disabled. You know, I got a really fucking bad back. My neck is jacked up. But I still go to therapy. I still push myself to try to be better. There's days like yesterday and today where I just don't feel good because of the rain and the difference of pressure, and like I'm hurting, you know, from time to time. It's just not pleasurable for me here. It's just, I hate spring. I'm not a fan of spring. Spring is beautiful for some, you know, and when I was younger, yes, I love spring because I enjoyed my springs in Florida. Florida spring is not like the rest of the United States spring. Florida spring could be 80, 90s, you know, and the humidity could be up or down. It's just, it's a different, you know, just Florida heat, man. It's like a easy bake oven. It's hot. It's humid, and then you have to deal with the fucking mosquitoes. And oh man, I grew up in Florida for a long time. I lived in Florida probably more than 30 years. I lived there because I grew up there. And yeah, I've been in around, and I'm here. And I like it where I'm at in the Northeast. You know, it's beautiful up here in the summer. Springs, the only thing I like about spring is the trees, how they bloom. Like everything's blooming and life is coming back. I love that. I love to see that. And the fact that like the leaves are popping up and they're absorbing pretty much our carbon monoxide poisoning fumes. The trees are absorbing it and providing fresh oxygen. It's a good feeling, you know, because I can't feel that. I can feel like it feels good to breathe. So that's why it's nice to be around with the trees and be around, well, if you can, because there's people that live in the desert and the only thing they have is cactuses. And I mean, cactuses are cool. I always thought they were cool. I mean, they're badasses because they got really good strong thorns and they'll pinch you. They don't play around. Like a cactus, oh, I don't know if you ever gotten stung by a cactus, let me know. Because I have, and that shit hurts. It was a little one. I was like, oh, you motherfucker. But yeah, cactuses, man. But at least life is coming back, and you can feel the energy of the trees, and they're breathing, and it's nice to see that again. That's what I like about spring. That's it. The pain and everything else I'm going through, no, thank you. But let me go ahead and continue this southern border deal, which I know the United States have this high tech. And let me tell you something. They're so high tech, like, and they're kind of like invisible, you know, because you can't detect them because they have all that, like, kind of like the B-2 bomber, how it's like that, like it's like you can't see it in radar. Well, it's the same thing like the United States have, but drone wise, and they have really high tech weapons and a lot of lasers. The future is lasers, and they could eliminate a lot with lasers. Yeah, that's not a secret. Yeah, that's what they're gonna be using the future warfare. Like ships now, they have lasers on them that if there's an incoming missile or some kind of drone or anything, they are able to detect it and blow it out the fucking sky. Nope. So let's go back to the story.
Last year,
if you fly a drone over an American military base, it should be blown out of the sky. I don't think that this is a controversial perspective to have.
the FAA prohibits shooting drones down. It's a regulation Arizona ignores anywhere near the border.
I trust them to shoot down these drones if they have to.
The Border Patrol records more than 1,000 drone incursions a month.
The number of drone incursions and sightings has doubled in some sectors on the southern borders.
We know that cartels have used UAS for unauthorized surveillance to assess our troop size, our movements.
Agents recovered these drones carrying heroin and meth. Others were surveillance drones. Military jamming systems helped disable 18 cartel drones this year, but agents hope for more flyaway kits like this. Problem is you can't beat what you can't see, and anti-drone technology is still playing catch-up. Today, Senators Mark Kelly of Arizona and James Langford of Oklahoma introduced a bill requiring a threat assessment of border drones,
Hurry up and
calling them
finish.
a risk to national security. In Los Angeles,
Okay, yeah, I had enough. Don't let him fool you. They already have this technology. They already have all these drones and stuff. Like they have it. They're not playing catch up at all. They make you want to think that they're playing catch up, but they're very far along into the narrative. Hey, what's up, Tyson and Terry? What's going on, man? I just swapped over back to StreamYard so I can see you guys. How you doing? Yeah, drone technology. That's the future of warfare. That's how we're gonna stop like for having men be killed on the battlefield. It's gonna be AI, and it's gonna be all AI drones that's gonna be patrolling the border daily. They're gonna have flights. It's gonna be something that Elon Musk is probably already starting to develop in some factory that we just don't know. But I could see them being made. And they're going to be special drones that are going to have like capabilities, and they're going to be patrolling the border, all of the border. And then every certain like distance, they're going to have an area where they go and they could take their little break or something. If they have some kind of like maintenance they need to do, they can just fly to it there and they can repair it and so forth. But they're going to be patrolling a lot on that border and monitoring it with drone technology, and it's cheaper. They could put so many drones there, and I'm telling you, weapons. I can see a lot of weapons. I can see a lot of laser type weapons, where they could destroy anything with the laser, pretty much. And they could put these drones really high in the sky. And it's gonna be so they won't even know it's there. Like the cartels, they won't even know it's there. It's kind of like a mosquito you can't even see in the air. That's how like they're gonna be. And all they do is if there's a target they need to eliminate, and they know it's like they have to eliminate, they have missiles on those drones, and they're gonna drop a missile down. And it's not one missile; they have a lot. They'll have enough that they can destroy an area, and it's gonna come down to that. Those cartels, they got too chummy with the money, and especially with the Biden open borders, they were like whoo, in and out. It was like a festival of money coming in, but now that is drying out. Like those routes are being capped off. And money is not it's not how it used to be, honey. No money. So I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know. You should have invested that money. You should have invested it. You should have purchased gold. You should have done something. I don't know. These cartels, man, they really have a really hard hand in government, especially the United States. Don't let them fool you. There's money funneling through the cartels into our politicians. They say allegedly, so that way I'm covered, but it's true. And they're puppets. They got some of these politicians like a puppet, and the Mexican cartels are the ones holding the strings and controlling the strings. And if they really wanted to a war on drugs, because that was the biggest thing, right? The Democrats, war on drugs, and everybody was on that bandwagon, war on drugs. That shit didn't even work. I feel like now there's even more drugs available in the United States. I mean, if you want to go and get whatever type of drug you want, I guarantee you can find it in the streets easily. You know, a couple of conversations and you'll have it. You know, and it's available anytime, any day. That's how much has come in. And I'm not only blaming Mexico side. No. I am blaming Canada. I'm blaming the ports that allow these drugs to come in through the containers. You know, some of these containers, like, sometimes they don't even scan them. They'll scan some of them, but some of them that just don't. And remember, money talks, bullshit walks. These motherfuckers get paid off, and at first they're gonna be like, "Yeah, let it go." You know, it's a business thing. It's all about business, man. It's all about the money. At the end of the day, if you control a politician, because remember, politicians okay. When they grew up, they always wanted to like steal from people or steal stuff and get, you know, try to get the easy way out. And the best way to live your life dream as doing that is becoming a politician. And once you're a politician, you never get in trouble. It's very rare you get in trouble, or you'll never see jail time. Like you may get a slap on your hand. Let me make myself bigger here. You may get a slap on the hand, like if you're a politician. If you're Nancy Pelosi, they don't even want to look. They don't even look at you. They know she's crooked. They know she's done all this like horrible things. She'll never like be accounted for. Like she won't hold, like they won't hold her accountable. They won't tell her, like they won't do anything to her. You know, she won't suffer any consequences. She will get away with it, and that's the life of a politician. They're the most crookedest thieves, and they do it right in front of you, and you can't do nothing about it. And the government, they can't even do nothing about it, and they just let it happen right in front of them. Right in front of them. I mean, how much closer can you get to the crime if you're right there with them every day? Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. Let's go to the next story. Oh, this is the damn plane with 4 San Diego plane crash victims identified. The way this thing exploded really is weird. Like the beginning. Watch the beginning here, and you're gonna see how this thing explodes. I've never seen something to go blank white. Like, you tell me.
This fiery plane crash in San Diego, which was caught on tape.
Let me play it back one more time.
We now know the names of 4 of the 6
And let me
victims
put
killed
my,
in this
get
fiery
this over
plane
here.
crash in San Diego, which
help.
was caught on.
I wish it
We
was
now
more
know
easier.
the names of 4 of the 6 victims
You
killed
see that?
in
Wait.
this fiery
You
plane
see how
crash
it went? Like
in
the
San
color?
Diego, which was caught on tape.
I want to play it one more
We now
time.
know the names of 4 of the 6 victims killed in this fiery plane crash.
What was on that plane to make that flash? That is a bright flash. I mean, and that was just a little jet. A little jet that explodes like that. Like that's the. It's so the camera went like to a different like setting. That's how bright it got. What the hell was on that plane? Yeah, what was on that plane? Because like it went white. Huh. Okay, let me play from the beginning and let me not interrupt. Let's go.
We now know the names of 4 of the 6 victims killed in this fiery plane crash in San Diego, which was caught on tape. We told you about the co-founder of the Sound Talent Group, Dave Shapiro, and the former drummer of the band The Devil Wears Prada, Daniel Williams. We told them their names yesterday. Well, tonight we know that Emma Heuch, who reportedly worked for Sound Talent Group, as well as Selena Kenyon, published reports say she was a professional photographer. We're still waiting to get information about the other 2 on board who were also killed. Fox 11's Matthew Seedorf reports tonight from San Diego.
Okay, hold on. Before I continue, this gives me a reminiscent like of the Philadelphia one. Remember the Philadelphia flight, the one that crashed, and it was like the medevac plane. I think it was from Mexico. That medevac crew, and that was very suspicious because I don't know, something about that grew very suspicious. I'm still suspicious of that one, and this one too. But the one from Philadelphia, the way it just the way it crashed seems like the same way this one did. Huh. I mean, a lot of plane crashes lately, and a lot of people, certain people, you know, I wonder what these people were really up to and why they got eliminated.
New details emerging into the cause of a deadly plane crash in San Diego. The collision igniting a massive early morning fireball in the middle of a military neighborhood.
It was like waking up to a war zone. It's explosion after explosion.
Wind visibility 1/2.
Around 3:45 Thursday morning, the pilot in air traffic control can be heard talking about the weather. Then about 2 miles from the airport, the Cessna 550 clipped this power line before falling into the neighborhood.
Runway alignment indicator lights at Montgomery Airport were out of service.
NTSB investigators now revealing while the pilot tried landing with dense fog in the dark, runway lights and the airport's weather system weren't working.
The Montgomery ASOS is out of service.
Does that make it more challenging for pilots to land if that's not working?
It affects the pilot's decision making, not the pilot's decision or the pilot's performance in the airplane.
The FAA believes 6 people were on board and no one survived. Sound Talent Group co-founder Dave Shapiro confirmed as one of the victims, along with Daniel Williams, the former drummer of heavy metal band The Devil Wears Prada.
When I looked out my door to try to get out, which there was no way out, one of the bodies was right there. I thought maybe someone had been shot. I had no clue that it was a plane crash.
A neighborhood owned by the U.S. Navy, residents used their training to save each other.
Our neighbor threw a ladder over the fence, and we were able to climb up and jump down.
Almost 100 people now unable to return home, but also looking for new places to live.
For me, I have safety concerns after experiencing that. If another incident happens.
So many people still clearly shaken by this, especially every time a plane flies over trying to land at the nearby airport. The NTSB should have their initial findings on this crash in the coming weeks. Reporting in San Diego, Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
Okay. That's interesting. Well, this will be the next one, but yeah, negligence. I'm just saying, wait, what? Did we just hear from the report? Negligence? A lot of it. First of all, the lights were in the airport weren't fucking working. They were flying in the dark. And don't you get a warning like in the plane if you're too low? Don't you get like a warning, you know, terrain. I don't do these jets have black boxes? I mean, I'm sure they do. I mean, what the fuck? Like that. You see, that's not an excuse. Like, it was heavily fogged too, and it's like, oh my god, that story was just. I don't know. I think there's more to it. Like that's just too like. That just don't add up. It just don't add up. It don't make no sense. It don't make no sense. I'm sorry. It just don't make sense. They don't tell you how far the airport was from where the plane hit the power cord, supposedly hit the cord. That's just, I don't know. That's just so weird. I just don't like. I know planes have these. You know, they tell you the altitude. They tell you how much feet from the ground you are, and if you're too low, and you're not close to the airport, it's gonna tell you, you know, terrain. You know, pull up. I'm pretty sure it has warnings. I mean, I don't know. Weird fucking story. Okay, let's go to the next one and try to get through it pretty quick because tonight is Saturday night main event, and I'm gonna be watching that tonight. And if you want to join me, I'll put out the link at the Discord. Tyson, I'll send it over to the Discord. So if anyone wants to go and watch, and any of my people also, I'll put it on Discord. I gotta get more active on there. Just gonna start this one real quick.
Back in Washington, House Republicans are demanding answers on the alleged cover-up of President Joe Biden's health decline, pushing for testimony from his doctor who claimed Biden was in tip-top shape while in office.
I love that. He's got some answers.
Yeah.
You gotta give us some answers. Madeline Rivera live in Washington with these very interesting details. Good morning, Maddie.
Good morning, guys. So it appears House Republicans are largely picking up the investigation into former President Biden's mental and physical fitness right around where it stopped last year. The House Oversight Committee had subpoenaed 3 White House aides and requested a transcribed interview with Biden's doctor, Kevin O'Connor, last year. The panel accused the White House of obstruction. Chairman James Comer now has letters out to the same group of people demanding they appear for transcribed interviews.
We're bringing the doctor in because the doctor was the one that said that Joe Biden was competent, that he was at the top of his game, that he was a picture of health. I don't think there's anyone in America, especially anyone with a medical degree, that believes anything this doctor has said about Joe Biden publicly while he was president.
The panel is also looking into Biden's use of the AutoPen. Former President Obama has used AutoPen in the past, and in 2005, the Justice Department released guidance noting its use is legal, but it has become a key line of attack for Republicans, including the president.
I'm just thinking, as you say that, I just said, what about AutoPens? Could I use an AutoPen? What did Biden do? Did he have an AutoPen at the desk?
Nuclear powered.
No, he didn't do events. Yeah, he used nuclear power. You know, he didn't do events like this, I guess.
As Republicans slam Democrats for allegedly helping to cover up Biden's decline, a co-host of the podcast Pod Save America is sharing this concession.
I remember feeling, I want to talk about this as a huge liability. I want to talk about this as something Joe Biden can overcome. But I'm not going to go so far as to say, I think Joe Biden must drop out. He is too old to be president. A, because I didn't know exactly what was going on behind the scenes. But B, if Joe Biden is the candidate, I want to can win.
All of this comes as the Biden family works to manage his diagnosis of prostate cancer, which has spread to his bones. Charlie, Rachel, and Griff.
Thank you, Maddie.
Slight moment of, thank you, Maddie, slight moment of honesty there on the part of John Lovett, but
Forced honesty.
forced honesty and also partial, like, I didn't really know. Like, we all knew. If you were watching Fox News, we were talking about the decline from the very beginning. I'm really glad that Donald Trump is bringing up the auto pen.
Yes.
We were talking off camera how he's always right on mark. That is so important. Who was actually running our government? Was it Anita Dunn? Was it Susan Rice? Was it Valerie Jarrett? Was it a combination of all these people?
Yeah, who was
We
running it?
don't know, but we should know. And if they use those auto pens on pardons without Joe Biden knowing, maybe those pardons aren't valid. Maybe some of these bills that these executive orders they signed aren't valid. We need to get to the bottom of it.
Well, just imagine what you're talking about. You're talking about the most powerful leader in the world. Decisions being made without his having any idea exactly what it is, whether it's a pardon or anything else. I think also the tragic part of this whole story, as we unpack it and now are learning more and more, is really the relationship between President Biden and the First Lady, Jill Biden. And, you know, Sally Quinn, a Washington Post columnist, it's very insightful things she's now saying about, you know, whether she had her husband's best interest. But I would just want to set it up by saying, if you remember, shortly after the debate, Sally Quinn, who is married to the famous publisher of the Washington Post, Ben Bradley, she wrote an open letter in the Post to Jill Biden, said to Jill Biden, you know, and he talked about Ben Bradley's death and dementia and how she saved him and kept him out of the public eye during the 40th anniversary of Watergate. And that's what you're supposed to do when you are looking after your husband.
When you
in
love
the spotlight
someone.
like that. But yet, here's what Sally Quinn now says about whether or not Jill Biden is to blame.
I blame Jill Biden for this. Jill Biden is his wife. And if Jill Biden had stood up and had gone to him and said, Joe, you can't do it. And if you do, you're on your own. I'm out. He wouldn't have run because he couldn't have done it without her support. I felt sorry for Joe Biden because I didn't think she was protecting him. She wasn't protecting him from himself. Right after the debate, they're in the spin room and she got his hand up and they're victory, we won, it was great. And the next day he's off in North Carolina and making a victory speech. I thought, what were they watching? I thought it was just elder abuse, really.
So here she comes up with a firm grasp of the obvious that has been obvious to a lot of people for a long time. But of course, it's after she and many people in the media spent so much time trying to cover for Joe Biden, trying to basically helping Joe Biden pull this off. But of course, you know, a few years ago, you got into all kinds of hot water for making this observation, maybe as one of the first people to make the observation that Joe Biden was clearly using her husband for her own purposes.
Yeah, I mean, we all saw that in that 2020 election, he was in the basement. And of course, the excuse was COVID. But we all knew what was happening. They didn't want him on the campaign trail because he was going to mess up. He was going to say stupid stuff, not because he puts his foot in his mouth, but all of us could see he was losing a step. Here's what I said 4 years ago. Sally Quinn's 4 years late. Listen.
I'm sorry, as a political spouse, I can't help but look at Jill Biden. No one knew better his state of mind than Dr. Jill Biden. And if you ask me, the most patriotic thing Jill Biden could have done was tell her husband to love her husband and not let him run in this mental state that he's in. I think she failed the country as well.
But mostly, you guys, she failed her husband. And I say that because, I'm a political spouse. And one of the things you realize when you're in that position, I've been a political spouse for many, many years, 10 years when Sean was in Congress, and now I am as well. There's only one person who cares about your husband with zero agenda. And so to have not just Jill, but where were the adult children? We're learning now that Hunter Biden had a much greater role in this. So the sense I'm getting is that this family was, it wasn't just elder abuse. And I did also say that she was his visiting angel.
Yeah.
But it wasn't just that. It was that they were getting something out of it. Jill Biden was getting something out of trotting her husband out there when she knew it made him look bad, when she should have been trying to enjoy these final moments with him, these final days of his, while he's still lucid. Same for the kids. But of course, you can't ignore, you guys, the amount of money this family was making. That is a piece of this puzzle. The corruption, something we've never actually really gotten to the bottom of, because Hunter was pardoned with an auto ban.
Well, and you weren't afraid to speak up 4 years ago and say it like it was. Which
they tried to get me fired for over it.
And of course, the Bidens are sitting there watching the fortunes and fortunes and fortunes that the Obamas made off of the presidency, and they're like, "Well, where's ours?
What about us?"
And so they had to keep the cartel going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Give us a call if anyone gets back to you and apologizes.
Yeah.
So we'll see what that is.
I'm not going to hold my breath, Griff, but I'm not going to lie. I've been enjoying the vindication, but I've been vindicated on lots of things, like from COVID on forward.
Yeah, right. Me
I'm
too.
Steve Doocy.
I feel
And
vindicated.
I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the
Somewhat.
Fox News YouTube.
But YouTube censored the shit out of me because of the fucking C word. Fuckers. All right, let's go to this last one, and this is going to be the last video of the evening. I think it's a good one to finish off the show with. And of course, it's no other than our President Trump. So let's go ahead and go to that.
As President Trump prepares to address graduating cadets, illegal immigration remains front and center of his agenda. The White House this week slamming District Judge Brian Murphy after he blocked the deportation of a group of illegal immigrants to South Sudan, saying that the judge is, quote, not the Secretary of State. Republican South Carolina Congresswoman Nancy Mace on what she makes of the latest moves. But first, Congresswoman, thank you.
Wait a minute. Wow. It said the judge is not the Secretary of State, meaning the Secretary of State is above the judge, because he's like the president's right hand man. Ooh, this is. I'm telling you, the judges here, the attorney, and all the craziness that's going on. The system is what is polluted and toxic, and the system needs a full enema, because they need to clear out the shit from the system, because it's so saturated and backed up for so long. I mean, we're talking about decades long, and to clean out the shit out, you definitely need to get a huge enema and flush them all out. Let's go back to the story, and we'll wrap it up after.
So much for being here this Memorial Day weekend. I want to just piggyback off of what we're seeing at West Point today. You obviously represent a strong military community in South Carolina. What do you hope to hear from the Commander-in-Chief, and just the significance of his speech today?
Well, and I also have several members of my family who are graduates of West Point, so I share a lot of their pride today watching the President of the United States, Donald Trump, take on America with some of our most selfless servants who are going to go to war, who are going to protect our country and our freedom. And I hope and I believe we will hear what Donald Trump is best at, giving the American people hope, inspiring our future soldiers who are going to be defending our freedom, our liberty, our Constitution, our country from our adversaries around the world. And I think we're going to feel great pride in his speech today.
Congresswoman, I want to talk about the big, beautiful bill before we talk about immigration. The one big, beautiful bill includes a big increase in defense spending for this nation. I want to now it's in the hands of the Senate. I want to toss to a bite here from Senator Ron Johnson about the prospect of this House bill in the Senate, and then I'll get your reaction.
All you heard in the House was $1.5 trillion. Sounds like a lot, but it's eager in compared to the $89 trillion we're going to be spending over the next 10 years and the $22 trillion we're going to add to the debt. Their bill, I believe, actually adds to that $22 trillion. Again, that's averaging $2.2 trillion a year deficit. That's completely unacceptable. That's why I'm saying it's inadequate. We need presidential leadership to get on board with returning to a reasonable pre-pandemic level spending.
Congresswoman, $22 trillion in debt is what the Senator Johnson said this bill will contribute over the next 10 years, yet you voted for it. What do you have to say about Senator Johnson's comments?
Well, number one, I share Senator Johnson's concerns about spending in this country, but also President Trump received a mandate in November. This is what the people want. This is what they desire, and they want us to move forward. And what the bill does is make Donald Trump's tax cuts permanent. That's huge for the middle class. It also provides funding and resources for our border so we can continue to stem the tide of the record illegal immigration that was done under Joe Biden. And I believe with the provisions in the bill that our economy is going to grow bigger and better than ever before, which would absorb some of the concerns that Senator Johnson has. But now is not the time to stall. We have to move our country forward. This is the best way to do that. But also, this doesn't have to be the only reconciliation bill. Democrats under Joe Biden set the precedent that you can do more than one. You can do multiple reconciliation bills, and we can address some of those concerns in future reconciliation bills if leadership decides that's what's right to do. But we have got to move Donald Trump's agenda forward. And if you're going to stand in the way, you're standing in the way of the American people at this juncture.
Congresswoman, do you expect your Republican colleagues in the Senate to blow up this bill, or do you think they'll just make minor tweaks at this point?
I think it'll be somewhere in between. I don't think they entirely blow it up, and I think the tweaks will be more than minor. What we often see is the Senate tinker with the bill in major ways. I probably won't be happy with it, and we'll see what it looks like when it comes back to the House. But everything is a negotiation. Not everyone gets 100%. You saw SALT Republicans not get everything they wanted, but they got a little bit. You saw the Freedom Caucus get some of what they wanted, but they didn't get 100% of it. And so that's what negotiation looks like, and that's what compromise has to be when you have different groups within our party fighting for what's right for their constituents and their country. We have to come to an agreement together.
So when do we get our hands around the deficit? I mean, when does that conversation happen, if not now?
Well, I think you're seeing it in some of the work that DOGE is doing, and I wish we were doing more to codify the DOGE cuts when we're cutting that kind of spending, and there's more to do. And I'm looking at all of the DOD contracts. I'm glad that we're increasing defense spending, but we also need to address all of these multi-billion-dollar contracts where some of our private contractors are literally, they have hundreds of people on contracts that aren't doing any work. Those contracts need to be cut, and we need to start over and be much more efficient with our dollars. But in cutting the spending and what DOGE is doing, that is step one in addressing the problem. But also the other thing we have to do is grow the economy. And I believe the provisions that Donald Trump is championing will help grow our GDP in ways that can absorb some of the debt and deficit that's on the horizon.
Congresswoman, before I let you go, I want to talk about illegal immigration. You have the judge, Brian Murphy, who has blocked the Trump administration's deportation of 8 illegal immigrants, not just 8 illegal immigrants, those who have been convicted of murder, pedophilia, sexual abuse, essentially saying that these folks deserve due process. Now, this plane of 8 illegal immigrants landed in Djibouti, and they are now there until this is adjudicated. What do you make of this judge's decision, and what do you have to say to those who say that even the worst of the worst deserve due process?
Well, they didn't get due process. They didn't want due process on their way in illegally. They shouldn't get due process on their way out. They need to be deported immediately, particularly the murderers, the pedophiles, the child molesters, the rapists. They got to go first, and that's what Donald Trump is doing. But guess what? Judge Brian Murphy, he's not Secretary of State. He's not the President of the United States. He's not God. He does not get to override Donald Trump and his agenda to keep America safe. And so I hope that Donald Trump will keep deporting those murderers and rapists and do it as quick as he can, because we need to keep women and kids safe in our country. And these illegals who are here, and what I understand is some of these countries just open up their prisons and let these violent criminals come walk right into the United States of America. It's wrong. And we have the right to stand up for ourselves, our freedoms, our liberty, and our national security. At this point, it's a national security problem.
For those just tuning in, we are waiting for President Trump to speak at the West Point Academy in front of 1,000 cadets who are about to be commissioned as second lieutenants, officers in the U.S. Army. Congresswoman, before you were just talking about immigration, but there was also a bill that you introduced regarding the Democratic Congresswoman from New Jersey, LaMonica McIver. You are calling for her to be expelled from Congress. Now, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, has said that that is not likely to happen. You haven't forced the issue. You've recommended it at this point. Why should the Congresswoman, who is now being charged by the Justice Department for assaulting federal agents at that ICE detention center, why should she be expelled for that before even this is adjudicated in the courts?
Well, Democrats set the precedent under George Santos that we can expel members of Congress without any due process, without a conviction, any of that. And so they set that precedent. Also, Democrats for the last decade have said no one is above the law. Well, good. Let's start with Congresswoman McIver, who physically assaulted an ICE agent and other federal agents. We all saw the video. Let's see what we can do there, because I'm glad she's being charged. She should be charged and prosecuted to the full
Yeah,
extent
she
of the
should be
law.
thrown out.
Democrats say one thing and then
She
do
needs to
another.
be
It's complete
expelled.
hypocrisy. And as they, want to keep violent criminals and want to let out MS-13 onto the streets of the United States of America, I hope we give them a bigger microphone.
No,
Let's
all
give them
these
a
there are
megaphone,
participants there.
so
They
the
need to
American
be
people can
expelled.
see what they're truly about, and it's not the American people. They will not put our citizens first.
And quickly, Congresswoman, do you expect her to be at least censured? Maybe some of her committee assignments stripped? I know
No,
that
kick
that's
the
been
fuck out.
Brought up at the very least that to happen.
No, out.
Democrats have also set the precedent for censorship and also kicking off a member off of their committees for nothing at all, just for a few words. And this woman has been indicted and has been charged for this assault on a federal agent. So there are other measures, and we should use every tool in the toolbox to hold her accountable.
Congresswoman Nancy Mace from the great state of South Carolina, thank you so much for being here on this Memorial Day weekend. And
Thank you.
To your family for their service to this country. Appreciate it.
I'm Hit the road.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
That's what I gotta say. Hit the road, Jack. She ain't coming back. No more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. Yeah. Kick her ass out. I can't wait for the Letitia James trials to that's gonna be so freaking entertaining and so joyful for me to watch and report, because I will report that case. Even the train wants me to report it. Right on time. And Fannie Willis too. And yeah, it's a lot of interesting things that are going to be happening very soon. And with that said, I'm going to wrap it up because Saturday night main event is about to start and I am not missing it. And thank you for those who came by. I appreciate you guys. And for those who are rewatching, thank you very much. I also appreciate that too. And thank you, YouTube, for not my video, because yesterday was horrible. And at least I was able to show the videos that I wanted to show today. So at least I'm appreciative of that. With that said, thank you so much. I'm not going to say leave the like or whatever. You leave the like if you want to, and subscribe because I need you to. But have a good night, good morning, and good afternoon wherever you're at. And I'll catch everybody on the flip side. Peace.